look into it. So let's quickly look into it. So we can get this application from the official Kubernetes documentation itself. The Kubernetes official document has the information about this dashboard. So you can simply look at this. The dashboard looks like this, and then you can simply deploy the dashboard using the instruction given by the Kubernetes documentation. So I have a working Kubernetes cluster already. Let me show you that. So I have a working Kubernetes cluster set up, so which is a Kubernetes master, and then I have 2 worker nodes on my cluster. So we are going to simply deploy the Kubernetes dashboard in my cluster, and we enable the UI completely, and we'll work on the UI for some time. So let's see that how to deploy it, right? So you can simply download this YAML file and then start deploying it. So I have downloaded it. Also, along with that, I little modified the dashboard application, the default application from the Kubernetes documentation, and I disable the security here just to log in without any credentials. That is the only thing we modified here. So I'm going to deploy this insecure version so that I could log into my dashboard without any credentials simply. So let's deploy this. So how do I deploy a thing in a cluster? Basically, we use a kubectl command. kubectl apply -f, and you can simply go to the execute the YAML file. So this is going to create your deployment for Kubernetes dashboard application. Along with that, it also going to set up a necessary permissions so that you can control everything from the dashboard application itself, right? Now this is why it creates a lot of RBAC rules and everything. That is what you can see it. Also, once we deployed it, we can quickly validate it. Kubernetes application, dashboard application runs inside a deployment. So we can simply see that kubectl get deployment. So you can see that the Kubernetes dashboard deployment is up and running. Since deployment runs pods inside it, so we can check the pods also. kubectl get pods. Now you can see that the Kubernetes dashboard application, which is inside a pod, which is started running it. Now, in order to access this application over a browser, we need to have a service for it. The service also gets created as part of the deploy dashboard installation. So we can simply check it, kubectl get svc service, we call it. Now you can see that there is a service called as Kubernetes dashboard, right? And this is of type node port service. So we can simply use something called as 30676, right? So you can use the node IP address and the port number so that you can access the dashboard from the UI, a browser basically. So let me take this IP address simply. The port number is 30676. So I'll go to here. The port number 30676. Now, when you hit it, basically you can simply see that the dashboard is getting launched. It is directly logged in because we disable the security completely. That's what I told you. Like I little tweaked it to disable the security so that you could directly log into it. You can use the secured application also. There are steps how to create your credentials and log into the dashboard. But just to make our life easier, I created this insecure application. Maybe you would see an application like this. If it is secured, you would see this page where it will log it and it will ask you to enter the kube config or a token to log into the application. Since ours is a secure disabled application, I can simply skip it. So it will log into the application simply like this. Now, as you see it, once we deployed our Kubernetes dashboard application in the cluster, we can see that all the Kubernetes resources that we normally deploy in a cluster are available in the UI also. Like I can check the nodes from the UI itself, like whatever it is, right? So you have 1 master and 2 nodes. All the resources will be visible from the UI itself. If you have anything already deployed, they will be available, right? That is how you can see it, the persistent volumes, or let's say that we have deployed the deployments, so we can check the deployments here. You can see that the Kubernetes dashboard running as a deployment, the one which we deployed just now. So we also have the pods similar to this one. You can check it. If you would like anything like this to check it up, you can check it. So if there are anything already running it, you can simply watch them over and you can check the statistics, or you can even work with them like checking the logs of running pods. Like you can check the pods and then click this one, simply check the logs for this. So it will write the logs like this. That a lot of logs will be written to your pods. It will simply shows you. Similarly, if you want to get inside a pod, you can simply use the exec command here. right? You can simply get inside a pod to do some operation, whatever it is doing it. Now that's okay. Now here, along with that, you can also, do something like this, right? So everything is possible from the UI itself. Now, along with that, if you're thinking about, can I create something from the UI? Yes, we can create something from the UI also. Let's say that I want to deploy an application of my own, like my app or my something deployment. Then I can simply upload the YAML file or create a YAML file from the UI itself, then deploy my application to the cluster from the UI itself. I don't need to go work on the command line anymore. I can simply deploy something from the UI itself. So how do I do that? So if you see it on the top right corner, there is something, a plus symbol here. So to create a new resource, simply click on this. And if you already having an idea how we normally write a YAML file to deploy an application into the Kubernetes cluster, simply write the YAML files, right? You can start writing it like whatever the things you wanted. Now, if you say that, you can simply write a YAML file and upload it directly, or you could also, right? You could also, if you have a file already ready with you, you can simply upload the YAML file or JSON file directly. So let's say that I have a YAML file, I would like to upload it. So simply click on this, it will open something in your system where the YAML file is there. Again, this is going to take it from your system again, it is not going from online. So it is just like this. So say that I have controllers here like a deployment YAML file. So let me take this. It is going to deploy a deployment which has a set of pods from a set of images. That is what it is going to do it. So simply open it up and it will upload here, and then you can say simply upload it. Now, okay, it says that some issue, that's okay, but let's see that if it is getting created or not. Let's get ahead and see it. Okay, it throws some error, but you see that the deployment got created. That's okay. So means there is some issue in my YAML file. That's okay. You would have a YAML file which is absolutely working fine, so you can simply upload it. So you can see that my app deployment is simply created on the cluster successfully. Means rather than creating it from the command line, we can simply create it from the UI itself. Now let me show you on the command line also whatever it is here. You can see that earlier we had, when you say kubectl get deployment, you are seeing only two deployments like Kubernetes Dashboard metric server and the dashboard. Now if you say same command again, kubectl get deployment, you can see that my app deployment also available here with the parts, which means that we need not to work on the command line. Basically we can simply work on the UI if you would like to, by enabling the UI for your cluster. So this is how you can see that my app deployment got successfully created, so that you can deploy everything. Now if you would like to look at the deployment which you created, again go for this. You can see that my app deployment is available with the 5 things. Now if you look at the pods, there are 5 pods available. You can see that there are 3 pods running on Kubernetes node 2 for the deployment, and then there are 2 pods running on node 1 for this particular deployment that we just deployed it. Now along with this, if you would like to modify something, or you need to do the pod operations, again check the logs on the pod, or if you want to get into the pod, you can simply use it from the UI itself, or you can delete even from the UI itself directly. But because we deployed a deployment here, because it has a desired state set already as 5, if you delete it, it is going to recreate the pod again. We can simply validate that also, that auto healing is working fine here, right? You can go for this. You can see that my deployment, basically you have what it is happening it. So here it is 6x5. So now you can see that 5x5 is available again. So means that whatever the matching it is going to unit, it is going to deploy those many pods again. Because the desired state, it is going to recreate the pod even if you delete it. Now, if you'd like to delete all of them, you need to simply delete the deployment instead of deleting the pods. So you can delete the deployment, as we said, like you can also modify the deployment from the UI itself, like scale it up. Or if you'd like to modify more details here, simply open the deployment. On the top you see a pencil symbol here, so you can simply edit the resource. It will open the YAML file that you deployed it. So you can simply see the entire YAML file here, like whatever it is doing it, all the YAML file. If you would like to modify something here directly, let's say that replicas are 5, I would like to change it to 8 replicas, right? So you can simply scale it from there, or you can scale it like this also by editing the YAML file. You can simply edit the YAML file from the UI itself, update it, right? Now it is going to create the 3 more pods for it. Let's see that the pod status, you can see that there are up to date 8 pods. We got it updated 8, total 8, and available also 8. So there are more information about your deployment like this, replica sets and everything in the events also. You can see it from the console itself directly. So you could control everything from the dashboard. So whether it's creating, or whether it's deleting, whether it is modifying it. If you have resource available, you can already modify it simply. You could do a lot of operations. Whatever you are doing on the command line, everything can be achieved from the dashboard also. So dashboard is again kind of a web-based application which enables every access to the cluster from the UI itself. You need to deploy this application with appropriate permissions to access everything from the UI. So that is what all you need to take care of it. Now this is how the dashboard works. So you could do anything. Just for a quick recap, so we can simply deploy the dashboard application on your Kubernetes cluster, which enables the UI for your entire cluster, so that you can start creating, deploying, or deleting, modifying everything from the UI itself. So this is a quick demo about your Kubernetes dashboard. How does it work and what is the purpose of Kubernetes dashboard? Hope you like this. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll come up with more videos accordingly. Thank you so much. Let us know if you have any questions, as well as if you want to know more things about it, you can write to us.